year, Mike, where quarterbacks aren't the same, where you thought like, okay, Stroud is going to be that guy, or even Love, because last year was like Love's really his second season, at the helm. He got injured, things happened. He didn't look the same. I'm going to hold off a little bit on him because he kind of came from nowhere, David, because I remember you guys, I said he was going to be good last year. You're like, hey, he's 156 years old. That just means that he's got a family. He can't afford not to be good or else he can't go home.
But now granted, he didn't have the success he had, but wouldn't Penix have a sophomore slump too then?
But this is Penix's real first year.
Okay. Correct.
To me, I look at Penix the way I look at Jordan Love, where he played a few games.
Okay.
But the year before, not last year, but the year before was like his first time being the guy.
Next on the list, they traded Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk is going to be hurt for most of the season. So the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver room is a wild card.
David, it is.
Yeah.
They're still, Ricky Pearsall got cleared, so he's back, and they're going to be relying heavily upon him. They're out there looking at a lot of free agents. I before the season starts, I look for them to grab one of those guys who has a name, and you hope that he can be like a stabilizing force in that wide receiver room. But David, it is not good right now.
How serious is Jennings' injury?
I don't think it's that. Okay. I don't think it's that bad. I think for Jennings, it's more of the contract situation. Like, is he going to hold out? Is he not? Is he going to be kind of playing half-heartedly because he's trying to protect himself?
I'm looking at their receiver room. Demarcus Robinson, right? And Amon-Ra's brother.
Right. They just signed Equinemius a couple days ago.
He's just a body for training camp.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a body for training camp, and it's like, hey, St. Brown, dazzle us. Make the team. Do something. And maybe, I'll know, David, if it's bad when all of a sudden they sign Trinity Benson.
Next on the list here is the Texans offensive line. They got rid of Tunsil. They got rid of Shaq Mason. They reshaped their entire offensive line. Is that the wild card?
That is definitely a wild card because we know their defense is going to be really good. We know their quarterback, I think, is good. Now, the deal with Joe Mixon, I have no idea what's going on there. Their wide receivers are very good. So, even though, what's his face, Tank Dell, is he going to be able to play again? I don't know. He'll be back, right, this year?
He'll be back next week, right, Rico? Tank Dell?
Yeah, he will be, David. No, I think that this is very critical because I think that it was a disaster, and I think it's why C.J. Stroud took a step back because all of a sudden that offensive line was just not there for him. And they were the surprise team 2 years ago in the playoffs. They and we all thought that they were going to be like how we think the Commanders are going to be this year. Like, oh, watch out for this team, and then how quickly their fortune changed.
But, they played a really tough playoff game and gave Kansas City, again, right, all they could handle. Right? Isn't that who they played in the first round last year? Yeah.
Right. And for some reason, just maybe, they won't play a game on a Saturday. Seriously, it's like they played the first game of the playoffs. It's like, why are you doing them like this?
Yeah, that's like Christmas is on the 25th of December. Their playoff game is on a Saturday.
Right.
Always.
It's like the Lions Thanksgiving Day. If you make it and you're in Houston, you're playing that Saturday.
It's the Iron Eagle special on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Next on the list, simply wild card, Justin Fields.
I'm going to say no because they're such a young, I believe, team with a new coach, and they're just trying to change the whole culture and all that. So I think it's important for him to show that he is an NFL quarterback, but I don't think anybody expects them to do anything. So I don't think he is the wild card.
No, Stoney, I couldn't disagree with you more.
Okay.
He is the wild card for multiple reasons. He's going to be given that chance. Aaron Glenn and the Honeymoons, they went out and they got him. So he thought that this is going to be the guy to help me do this. He fails there. He's in the CFL. He's done. He's a professional backup. This is your last chance. You don't normally, unless you're Baker Mayfield, you only get 3 teams. And then after that, you're done. because that means that it's not the organizations, it's you, son.
Yeah, I guess for himself it is, but I don't think it's a wild card for the team.
Well, he said Justin Fields. Like, so
Right.
I'm not.
Okay.
It wasn't the Jets, it's him. So
Right.
yeah, this is it. And here's the difference. Chicago, he didn't have any offensive mind people there. They didn't.
Correct.
It's kind of like Atlanta. Last year with the Steelers, you can't flourish looking over your shoulder, knowing every time you throw an incomplete pass, every time you throw an interception, Russell Wilson's right there. In New York, you are allowed to relax. You're allowed to make mistakes, and I think that's going to help him. Plus, Glenn took the passing coordinator from the Lions. He's there as the OC.
Taylor Eckstrom, yeah.
You're going to hope that you could tailor something because he's got the skills. Mm-hmm. He just really needs an organization to believe in him. David, leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I'm done. Don't talk to me. Don't even look at me. I want to hear what you got to say.
In football today.
Good afternoon. It is the Valenti Show with Rico Stoney here for Mike. 248-539-9797. On Thursday, yes, it's the Major League Baseball trading deadline. We know about that. We hope the Tigers will improve their roster. But also Thursday, on these very airwaves, the Detroit Lions begin the quest for that elusive Super Bowl championship with a game against the Los Angeles Chargers in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. A game where I would assume that nobody of major significance on either team will be participating. Dan Campbell said today, I don't think Tyleik Williams or even Tate Ratledge are going to play. So they'll probably play sometime in the preseason. They should, but not in this game. And by the way, the game is so significant that the Los Angeles Chargers starting quarterback will be Trey Lance.
Yeah, I don't even know why they're bothering to play this game. I mean, I think the Lions pretty much played all their people today in their scrimmage because they'd rather see, you know what, we'll have them play here in Allen Park. They're not going to play in that game.
Right. So obviously Thursday we'll talk more, or maybe we won't, about that game. Hopefully we'll be talking about some Tiger acquisitions, like I said. But the question I have at 248-539-9797, is it just me? Now, I won't look. I know the fans, they sold out all of training camp. So maybe it's just us being jaded. I don't sense the buzz and anticipation that we had for this team last year, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah, I think I may have cracked the code because we've asked the question of because I thought maybe it was a hangover. Maybe you're still not quite over what happened, what you saw in January with this team, with the Commanders coming in here. You know, we were expecting to do shows in New Orleans, and instead it was like vacation's over, and you know what? Everybody ended up with sick on vacation, flying back. It was just a horrible ending, and I thought maybe it was just a hangover. Or, Stoney, maybe it's this. Maybe the Lions fans have gotten into that territory. Remember with the Wings, it was wake me up when the playoffs get here?
Oh, yeah, because there's no issues when teams are really good, and I'm not going to compare the Wings' greatness of, a semi-dynasty to what the Lions are going through, but it gets to a point year after year, you know where you're going to be, or you think you're going to be, so it's like nothing really matters unless there's something, catastrophic that it would happen.
And I think what happened with the Lions is they realized that the regular season means absolutely bupkis. It means nothing. It doesn't. Stoney, they had the number one overall. And I think Lions fans got seduced by that. Oh, if we get the number one overall seed, we're going to the Super Bowl. And they realized that doesn't mean anything. Wake me up when the playoffs get here. And I think that a lot of Lions fans, 248-539-9797, are you in just wake me up when the playoffs start, and that's when I'm going to get dialed in. That's when I'm going to get focused. They have enough talent. They'll make the playoffs. I don't know where, but being the number one overall seed didn't work out for them.
Correct. So, yeah, the question is, you obviously, if you're not that excited yet, you're assuming you're going to make the playoffs. And I get that. They should make the playoffs. But there's no guarantee. And it's not like in hockey and basketball where there's 80 games and 82 games, in baseball where there's 162. You got 17 games. So the regular season still is very important because you have to at least win a minimum of 10 of those to get in. And I think you're partly correct where we're just waiting for the playoffs to start. But the other side of me is sitting there. I think there's a lot of Lion fans out there, I could be completely wrong, who are, I don't little worried,
concerned
about
scared
about the things that you should be concerned about. The Ragnar retiring and losing Zeitler. You're having, Ratledge is going to be playing guard and Mahogany playing guard. Okay, and Glasgow,
a rookie and a rookie,
right? And Glasgow probably being the center. The defensive line with McNeil not being available, with Ozarike hurt, with Pascal not coming back till practicing. Dan Campbell said today, sometime in early September he'll return to the practice field, not ready for game shape. You have that. You do have the schedule with playing those really good quarterbacks on the road. That's in your mind, and the coordinator difference is on your mind. And you may think I'm crazy. I think the coordinator thing is actually the least important of what I just described. To me, the offensive and defensive line are by far away the biggest concerns of this football.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Stoney. I think that the coordinator is actually bigger.
Okay.
The fact that because look, Ben Johnson didn't get stupid in that final game. I know the people want to blame him. Oh, he had a foot out the door. He was already going to leave.
No, that's not true.
It's not true. But the relationship and the way that he was able to get the most out of Jared Goff was the best I've ever seen Goff play. The Rams didn't see that. That's why they let him go. They basically drug him out to the curb and said, Detroit, if you want him, you could pick him up.
Right.
You can have him. And then all of a sudden, Ben Johnson unlocked something in him, and now you got people chanting his name. Now he looks like one of the better quarterbacks, regardless of all the shortcomings that he has. He's a guy that, he was perfect in some games. Like he wasn't throwing in, like he was getting it done. And I think a lot of that was Johnson knew what plays to work and call and how to just basically call a game for him that he felt so comfortable. I don't know if you're going to get that with John Moore.
It's a question. Look, I'm not minimizing the losses of the coordinators. I just think all in all, it comes down to talent. And if your talent up front is injured and you have to rely on rookies and you don't have that other edge rusher to begin with, I didn't even mention that yet. But the interior of the defensive line, because of the injuries, that's what scares me the most. Not the coordinator stuff, which is, I'm not minimizing it, but I don't care. If you had Ben Johnson there and you didn't have Ragnow and you didn't have Zeitler, you have problems there, I don't think the coordinator's going to be able to fix that. Well, if Jared Goff doesn't have time to throw the freaking ball, I don't care who the coordinator is.
Okay. No, Stoney, it's a fair point. And then I look at the one that Aaron Glenn never got enough credit. Putting a defense out there every week with turnover. And, okay, now who's hurt? Like, oh, my God, who are you, son?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had to bring back Vildor to play defensive end, defensive back.
Yes.
By the end, David, he's just out there calling people by their numbers because he doesn't know their names. Hey, 50, 59, come here. You're in
He's
the wrong
having people
spot.
put their name on the front of their helmet.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I think that those two, a lot of things, but like you said, the lines, that should concern people. The fact that you don't have the stabilizing forces in the coordinators to make sure that you can get the most out of what you have is a lot of brand new stuff. And like I said, for Lions fans, it's a quiet. It's an eerie quiet that I've been trying to figure out what's happened. Because last year, hey, we're on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Everybody's picking us. And now, okay. So we're all wrapped up in the Tigers. You can root for both teams.
248-539-9797. Let's say hello to Chuck. You're 97 on the ticket.
Afternoon, guys. How are you?
Hey, Chuck.
Thank you.
My biggest thing is the coordinators. I mean, for 3 years we had, arguably, to me, the best coordinators, and they were able to plug people in when someone got hurt. Now we have two coordinators that are not proven. Even though we got the talent, are they going to be able to get that same talent out of those players that Glenn and Johnson got out of them? That's my concern.
And it's, you know what? Look, like I said, I think the actual players are more important. But when you talk about the coordinators, there's also position coaches that they lost too. I mean, they lost Antoine Randall. They lost their defensive line coach who they loved last year. He was only here for 1 year. Tyrell Williams, who went to New England to be the DC under Mike Vrabel. So, yeah, we'll see. It is a concern, but to me, like I said, if you have to have the players.
To me, they were able to get the talent out of the players they had, and I'm just worried about the new coordinators to see what they can do.
Chuck, I'm right there with you.
Excited.
I'm right there with you.
Well, look, Shepard has been promoted, and John Morton was here before, so it's not that they're complete strangers. And a little question about John Morton and something he's going to be doing, whether you think that's going to be good or bad. That's coming up next. 97 won the ticket.
Well, you know what? When it comes to the Detroit Lions, Stoney, I'm weeks away from watching them in a new finished basement, thanks to my people over at Matrix Basement. They came in. My basement was totally unfinished, and they came up with a plan. I met with them. They had the drawings and designs. We went back in, we retweaked it, and now, man, I'm in the beginning stages. They just got the framing done. They do a great job. Quality work. I am so looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, watch out on their YouTube channel. I just finished taping a video with Nate. Go to matrixbasement.com. You'll get a ton of ideas. Great before and after pictures. If you're looking to finish off your basement, you want to add a new bedroom, bath, basement, bar, whatever you workout room, Matrix Basements can get this job done for you. It's a free consultation. Go online, check them out, matrixbasements.com. Tons of ideas. Let Matrix Basement make your basement dreams turn into a reality.
248-539-9797. By the way, the Tigers take it on Arizona this evening. Tomorrow afternoon, there's a game as well, and then they have the day off for the trading deadline. Very convenient, actually. You don't have to have any of those situations like, about 10 years ago, Austin Jackson got pulled in the middle of the game. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The pitching rotation for the Philadelphia series as the Tigers go to play the Philadelphia Phillies. Friday will be Jack Flaherty. Saturday will be Tarek Skubal. And Troy Melton will be on the hill on Sunday. Sunday night baseball with Troy Melton. You have to figure that the ESPN people are saying, damn it, why don't you pitch Skubal on Sunday?
They're hoping that he could do exactly what he did last night, and they'll be like, well, Detroit is just cranking out aces. Hats off to Chris Fetter.
Yeah. 248-539-9797. Discussing the, lack of major buzz for the Lions right now. Maybe it's just us because I know the fans are into it, the ones who go to training camp because it's packed, it's sold out, and there's tons of people out there. And, when you're there, obviously they're off tomorrow, but you go say hi to John and Jim and Heather, and I think Doug and Gator are going to be out there next week.
Right.
Let's go to John. You're on 97.1 The Ticket. What's up, John?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
I think the Lions are going all the way. They're going to be underrated. People are going to think, oh, they can't do it, and they're going to do it. I'm a season ticket holder, and I love the Lions.
Okay, I love the Lions too. Why do you think they are going to go all the way? Give me some the worries that we have. They don't worry you at all?
No, not a bit, because I know the center. The center, okay, how important is that? He hikes the ball. Anybody can hike the ball.
You know what? Come on, John. You said you're a season ticket holder. You're supposed to be smarter than that. The center is basically like the other quarterback.
Yeah,
John, he actually points out coverages and things like that. The center,
he calls out the defense.
Is a very important cog of that.
He may even call an audible and let the quarterback know, change the play. He is also.
Oh, does he? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And let's face it, you need a center not only to snap the ball, but to be able to protect the middle because that's where Goff is going to make his bread and butter. Remember, he's not mobile. So he gets flushed out of the pocket, and he's dead man walking. And for a guy like David Montgomery who likes to run through the middle, he's not. Like Jahmyr Gibbs probably is not worried as much, but Goff and Montgomery with the new center and new guards – and probably not their best. This is not what they dreamed of this year.
And the center that they're replacing was an all-pro center, one of the best in the league, John.
Yeah, you got a point there.
All right.
Okay. I take that back.
Okay.
That's okay, man.
I still think they're going to make the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, as we see, anything can pretty much happen. Not as much as, baseball or hockey, but they can get on a run. I don't see them winning more than 10 games, though. I don't, not with that schedule, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they would.
Stoney, if they get out the first 7 games.
Yeah, because it's tough.
First 7 games with, let's just say, 2 or 3 losses, then it'll be just like John said. This team's going to go on a roll, and they may end up winning 12, 13 games because the back half is a little different. Now, they got a tough stretch at Washington, at Philly.
Correct.
But after that, those final games, but man, it's the first 7.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay and Chicago, like if Ben Johnson wasn't there, no. But then again, Chicago didn't play them badly here with an idiot for a coach who probably should have won the game on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So let's think about it. This guy didn't know what he was doing, and they almost came into Ford Field and won. That's why I'm not that quick to just, we'll beat the Bears.
No.
Will you?
No, I think they go.
Kenny?
Who even needs a center, I guess, is my question. That I think is the biggest takeaway from this segment was centers don't matter.
Yes.
I'm with you guys.
If they go 4-2 against the division, that would be good.
And I think what's being whistled past the graveyard here is this schedule is incredibly difficult.
Right. I said that the quarterbacks they play on the road.
It may change, and we may find out that, wow, you guys were always talking about the first 7 games, and they just 7 cupcakes of the league. things can change. Like last year, we thought the Niner game was going to be the battle for the number 1 seed, and it wasn't. But coming out the gate, the reason why I think those games are hard, because unless there's injuries in training camp, everybody's coming into those games healthy.
Right, at Green Bay, and then Ben Johnson coming in here.
Look at the quarterbacks that you will be facing
on the road this season.
Right, that early. That's why I'm like, man, it's not a gimme. Like, okay, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams,
Burrow,
Joe Burrow.
All on the road.
Yeah.
My issue is it's not just one thing, though. It's not just losing your coordinators. It's not just your center. It's not just the schedule. It's everything, all of that combined into one. I don't see why fans could be that confident.
No, me neither. All right, let's go to Alex here on 97 on the ticket. What's up, Alex?
Hey, guys. So last year, if there was, with our injuries on defense, if there was any doubt, the Buffalo game erased that. Our D it kind of showed we were not going to get through Philly. However, this year, with losing Frank and Goff's struggles in that Redskin game, he does not like that up the middle pressure at all. I mean, no quarterback does, but his turnover ratio goes up when he gets that interior pressure with his lack of mobility. So I'm very concerned about that. Hopefully Graham can, he's veteran, but, I don't think he has the anchor that Frank had.
No.
But anyways, hopefully by, playoff time, the young guys on each side of them are
so Alex,
they'll be kind of veterans by then.
Alex, our question is, are you seeing a lack of buzz heading into, not the actual game on Thursday, but just like last year, the anticipation for this season was unbelievable. And I don't see it right now.
We thought we were going to win the championship, but we had a full, healthy defense at this time last year.
That's a good point.
Right? And then all of a sudden, I was in the Arizona game, and Barnes goes down, Davenport goes down. It was crazy. We lost at least 3 guys in that game. And then, it just kept going throughout the season. The attrition rate.
Yeah, you're right.
And then losing Amik Robinson in the beginning of the Redskin game was like, oh, man.
That didn't help either. There's no doubt about that. Look, I think, we were talking about, you'll hear about wild cards later in the show. But, like Marcus Davenport, I know it's a long shot based on his history, but if he actually can stay healthy and you have some, and I don't know what I said, that's a wild card.
And Stoney, if I could just get those 6 numbers in a row.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be the Mike and Mike show.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a lot. The history suggests he won't be playing a lot of games. I get it. But if maybe just for 1 year you get a healthy Marcus Davenport, I don't know. Maybe.
It's okay to wish.
Yeah. My bad. Let's go to Larry. You're on 97 on the ticket. What's up at Ann Arbor, Larry?
It's hot, stinking hot. Other than that, everything's hunky-dory.
All right.
So anyway, here are my thoughts. I think it's pretty obvious. The Lions are pretty well stacked, except the offensive and defensive lines are the question marks.
Only 2 of the 3 most important positions in football besides the quarterback. Right?
Well, we know they have some studs there, and you got Sewell and you got Hudson. But if they can even just hold their own, then with the adversity they went through last year, and everybody knows that in another year or so, they're going to lose some of their key players, Jameson Williams perhaps, or whatever they give Hutchinson, they probably got to keep him. So I think if those 2 lines can just play even Steven, then I give them as good a chance as anybody. And Philadelphia is a very physical team. History has shown the physical teams have a very difficult time repeating.
Yeah, well, they lost a lot of guys too. From free, they lost Milton Williams. They lost a lot of their defensive backs. Not all of them, obviously. Still Mitchell and DeJean, but they lost. What's his name? Gardner Johnson. They lost Darius Slay. By the way, Rico, one of the guys I know that you wanted here, I wasn't so crazy about him like I was with Jalen Carter, but I heard that Davis has lost 35 pounds and is going to
Jordan Davis, yes. Yeah. As people, he's just a nose tackle. That was, this guy. Okay. He sure would look nice here.
Yes. All right,
But I'll let it go.
248-539-9797. 248-539-9797. Just a few little tidbits before we go to the ticket texts. Evan Petzold has, I haven't read the whole thing, but basically he's just wrote an article talking to Gleyber Torres. And Gleyber Torres is convinced the Tigers are going to buy at the deadline, and Suarez would be a great fit. Also, their medical report, starting a rehab assignment tonight, pitching for your West Michigan Whitecaps, Alex Cobb. So, and A.J. Hinch is quoted as saying today, it's go time for him. He knows what he feels now is likely what he's going to feel the rest of the way. There's nobody who's done more than he has to get to this point. I've watched him do everything to alleviate the pain, and the issue's not going away. So now we need to test and see what he can endure. Based on what he's done so far, he can endure a lot. So my guess is you'll know in the next week or so whether he's even going to be part of this team.
Guys, am I a bad person? I just don't think that he's going to be a part of this team, and I've already written him off.
Well, why does that make you a bad person?
I don't see him as a Tiger. I see him as, geez, he may have pulled off one of the greatest grifts ever, where he just got paid to rehab the entire year.
Well, I wouldn't call it a grift.
He was retiring.
Yeah, but that's on Scott Harris, not him.
I'm just saying. It's like, yes, you know I'm retired. Yeah,
well, I'm
okay.
sure they always, when they sign people, they do medicals. So it's not like he was coming off I don't know. I mean,
he was coming off a hip injury.
I know that. I understand that part of it.
The Levi Onzarique's doctor?
No, but if you pass your physical and you look at the medicals,
if the team accepts,
you're
right. Exactly.
I don't expect to see him at all. I'm not counting on him.
I'm not debating that, but
I got higher aspirations for Melton than I do him.
No, I know, but I'm saying it doesn't make you a bad person for feeling that way. I'm just saying there's, hopefully you'll be wrong. Hopefully I'll be wrong too, because I agree with you. I don't think he's ever going to pitch for the Tigers again. Anyway, we have some ticket text based on our Lions conversation, David.
Sure do. I don't know what's going to happen, but when is the last time we were worried about how the Lions are going to perform? I'm enjoying this and looking forward to the season. That is Boz in Shelby.
I just wonder, like Boz, are you? Or is it just, you know what? I need to see them in the postseason. I know what they can do in the regular season. I need to see what they do in the post.
But it can't get to the point like hockey where you're just going to sit there and sleepwalk as a fan through an NFL season. There's no way.
I don't think it's even gotten to that level to where fans should do that with this team.
No, it's only
what
been
have
2
the Lions
years.
won?
Right.
At least when the Wings fans were like that, they had already won Stanley Cups.
I'm with you,
right.
But you know.
And it's only been 2 years where they made the playoffs. So
correct, and they won 2 playoff games. That's it. They didn't, and that was in one.
Right. They're 2-2 in the playoffs.
So you're saying they're on a playoff streak, huh? Just like the Red Wings were.
No, actually, no. They lost to the Commanders, so the streak is
of making the playoffs.
Making the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have 23 more years.
That's over. That season. That's over. Al from Macomb says, I believe the Lions will take a step back this year. With all the factors that Kenny said, the Lions will struggle to win 10 games if everyone stays healthy. And this is the NFL. Everyone doesn't stay healthy.
True. We saw that last year. Everyone didn't stay healthy. But you think so he thinks they won't win the division.
Yes.
I think they win the division. Unless 2 things happen. Green Bay has no injuries and Jordan Love turns into the best quarterback that Green Bay's ever had, or J.J. McCarthy plays his ass off, which I don't see happening for a rookie.
Or Stoney, it just maybe you don't go undefeated in the division, and
Well, I don't expect them to go undefeated, but I still expect them to have more games won than anybody else in the division.
I still look at yes, JJ is the big wild card, but I look at Jordan Love. He was injured. The game on the bad turf in Brazil, he never recovered. Well, I think it was on the final play or the second to the last play of that game.
They got him receiver in the draft in Golden. They could be very good.
Now the defense, we got to wait to see what happens because their defensive line is about as bad as the Lions' defensive line.
Someone just texted in and they're being honest. I am emotionally spent on the Lions. Wow.
After 2 years?
No, I think last year because I think last year, I'd like to use the Gator term, Lions fans were very chesty.
Yeah,
last season.
Yes, they were.
It was.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Very chesty. Who's gonna beat us? I mean, it was comparison. Hey, are we better than that Rams team, the greatest show on turf? Look at how many points that they scored. Look at the offense. Look at how they were running, and they were a well-oiled machine, and then it crashed. So I can understand that.
I think most realistic Lion fans after the injuries in the Buffalo game, especially when Lee McNeil, he got hurt in that game, and Montgomery also. But when McNeil went down, that's when I said they're not winning the Super Bowl.
Someone says, guys, we won every road game last year. We'll just do that again.
Okay. Please come here, and I'd like to make that wager with you.
What is wrong with these people? That tax, we got someone calling and saying the center doesn't matter. What is happening with these Lions fans?
You know, yeah, I'm going to say the caller John, I guess didn't realize the nuance. When you're sitting in the stands, unless you really know offensive line, you're right. He's just the guy that hikes the ball. He is not just the guy that hikes the ball.
Yeah, this isn't Little League where the kid just hikes the ball.
That's
right.
That's why when a team gets a center, it's like a catcher in baseball. Once you get a great one or a very good one, you're never getting rid of that person.
That's right. That's why I think
they're going to be a center for your team for the next 10, 15 years. That's why occasionally you see people draft and you're like, why'd you waste it on a center? Because you'll never have to draft one again.
You're right.
Yes.
There's Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
You have to put them together when you talk about each other. It took forever, and maybe not forever, but for them to find Creed Humphrey for the Chiefs. That was a huge get for Mahomes to have that center, his center. He's going to have him for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Well, Stafford thrived without Frank Ragnow.
But they also had a good center with the LA Rams.
Yeah, I know. By the way, what you said about the catcher, the analogy is true. That's why Dylan Dingler should be on this Tigers team for 15 years.
Yeah. And all those catching prospects that you have, you could trade those guys away.
Damn right.
Plain and simple.
But you need a backup.
Okay. No.
I'm being funny. I'm being funny.
David, here's the thing. Okay, you know what? The second or third best one, I'll bring you up as the backup. But the one right underneath, you're trade bait.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you're the DH. Bob in Wyandotte, what's up?
Hey, these people saying that the center don't mean anything or whatever. You build a house from the foundation up, not from the roof down. Your defensive line, your center on your offense, your defensive tackles, they're the base of your defense and your offense.
You are so correct. That's why that's my biggest worry of this team more than the coordinators is the interior of both lines.
That's the base. That's the tip of your spear on both sides of the ball.
See, Bob, you don't even need season tickets to come up with that smart talent.
No, he gets it. He gets it.
He gets it. He understands it. Our previous caller, with all due respect, he didn't.
You know what? He's a season ticket holder, Stoney, and he's just watching the games from afar. He's looking at the touchdowns. Nobody goes to Ford Field to watch the offensive line unless your last name is Lang or Brown.
Also, an update on caller John. He just called back. He actually did apologize. He sounded like he felt bad about it.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not getting on caller John. You know what? Because
I am.
No, it's not fair. When you go to a game, you're watching the quarterback, you're watching, like I said, unless your last name is Brown or Lang, nobody watches the O-line, period.
I understand that, but if you're a season, if you're a football fan, you at least know, even if your eyes don't take you there during the game, you know how important the offensive line is.
Not everyone. Most of them are fans. They're not scouts.
Right.
They're not looking at the nuance of the game.
Right.
They just want to score touchdowns
they don't have 40
and stop
years
them
in this
from
business
scoring.
like you, where they know and they talk to the coaches and they just go to the games, man. It's like, oh, okay, this is center. He hikes the ball. That's his job. Just like the punter. He just kicks the ball. You don't know about, well, he's got to put the angle in. He's got to do whatever. Is he going to kick a knuckleball? Is it going to be a fair catch? There's so many different nuances, but a punter just kicks the ball.
Oh, boy. I wish Jansen could have heard that. 248-539. 9797 is the telephone number. Oh man, I that to me was the call of the day. If we did a segment, it was you used 2 years ago, I think. Did you call of the day?
Yeah.
That would have been the call of the day.
He'll be okay. Caller John, we love you. And if Stoney doesn't, at least I do.
I love you. I love
do.
you, John.
You know what?
But
hey,
I just question
we're
your.
going to treat it like Planet Fitness. Judgment free zone. Judgment free.
I question his acumen. How about that? 97 won the ticket. Sounds like Brent Musburger should be around. Love that music.
I do miss Musburger. He was great.
You are looking live.
So let's get to it, guys. Teams most likely to sustain last year's gains. Mm-hmm. So let's get to it, guys. Let's start with Arizona State. So, yes, everyone remembers Cam Scatterbull.
They love him in New York right now.
He's gone, but they return a lot of talent. They return Sam Levitt. They return from the receiving core Jordan Tyson, who late in 2024 was a big play producer for them. Then they have Malik McClain, Jalen Moss. They have some weapons there. Can they sustain their success from last year?
I think they can because they're in a awful conference. Well, not awful, but
it's not 12. The SEC or
it's
Big.
Not,
yeah,
exactly. I love their coach. You know, whether that runs its course, I don't know. But, Dillingham, he's pretty damn good. So I think they can do what they did last year.
I'm going to say yes, they can. And this is going to be a theme for me, David. They're returning their quarterback. That's the key. In college football now, if you have a second or even better, a third-year quarterback or somebody who came from an established place, you can hit the ground running. And I'm sure a lot of State fans wish that Levitt was still there, but he went there and he kind of did that. He used a little bit of experience that he had at MSU, and he really turned it on at Arizona State, and he's back. Yes, anybody with a returning quarterback, it works because of this transfer portal thing. It's the ones with the brand new QBs I don't feel good about.
He might be in like one of the good, not one of the top ones, but one of the what ifs. What if he was recruited by Jonathan Smith at Oregon State?
Yeah,
he might have stayed. I don't know.
Stoney, I'll just put it like this. I have never just openly seen an athlete come out and say that they hated a coach.
I know.
And just basically F you.
Yeah.
The second they hired Jonathan Smith, oh, hell no, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm gone. See ya.
Here's something else that's significant that I forgot to mention with Arizona State. You're right about the quarterback, Rico, but their offensive line and defense bring back a ton of seniors.
Yeah,
so that's huge. So along with the quarterback, and now you have seniors returning on your line.
You got
and
the
your
offensive
defense.
line. You got the quarterback. So
and even if they're not great on a great offensive line, cohesion and continuity is very important.
And when Texas, when Texas and Oklahoma left the Big 12, Big 12's wide open. I could easily see Arizona winning this thing. Arizona State, I mean.
Yes.
Next on the list, the Baylor Bears. They went 8-5 last year, but here's the key. They won the last 6 games of the regular season, scoring an average of 12 points more than projected, and they return a ton. Can they sustain success?
They're always, to me, since RG3 left, have been the America's tease of a team. You always think they're going to be really, really good, and they just
then when
never
they're good,
deliver.
they're not. And then when you think that they stink,
yes,
they're good.
Yes.
So following that logic, David, I guess Stoney is saying no.
Yeah. You like their coach Armada, right? He's still there.
Yeah,
right?
it's it's just the conference that they're in. It's everybody is open. There's no clear-cut team when you look at that Big 12. So I can see them, yes, David, they may be able to sustain this.
Yeah, Dave Aranda. He is the head coach there. He is returned
Armada.
This one, hear me out here. It's a MAC school. It is the Buffalo Bulls. They went 9-4 last year, and they return a ton as well. And the only threat they have in the MAC is Toledo.
Isn't their head coach the guy who was like an assistant coach at Michigan for like 1 year?
Believe so, yes.
Yeah. I gotta be honest with you. I know nothing about Buffalo.
I know.
Yeah, I would have to look at their schedule, David, but I mean, are they returning a ton of people?
They are returning defensive end Kobe Stewart, huge guy for them. Outside linebacker Deion Crawford, another great defender for them. And their other linebacker, Red Murdoch. So 3 key defenders.
Because here's the thing, the MAC schools, how many did you keep from going and taking that step up to go to the Power 4?
That's a great question.
Because if you're blowing up in the MAC, it's like, yeah, I'm wasting my time here. I'm going to go make some money, 6 figures down the road. So, yeah, I mean, sure, why not?
And I know it's the MAC, but, I mean, there is a group of 5, team that can go to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
They do open.
Okay, yeah, they can.
Hold on. They open against Minnesota, and then they really have nothing else. So if you beat Minnesota and run through the MAC.
And I'm trying to think, is Minnesota, who's their quarterback?
Exactly.
I think it's a kid coming back again, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the Gophers.
Let's move on to the next school, and that is the Illini. They were 10-3 last year, and Rico, we've talked about this team because their schedule looks like what Indiana did last year.
Yeah.
So, can they sustain success?
They are like the darling. I mean, even in the Big Ten, media deal, right? Everybody had them, third or fourth? Fourth.
Well, Sonny, here's why.
And they bring back Altmaier, right?
Yeah, they bring back the quarterback, like I said. Their schedule, Stoney.
Yeah.
Home, Western Illinois. At Duke. Western Michigan Broncos at home. At Indiana. USC at home. At Purdue. Here's their one tough game. They got the Buckeyes at home. Then they're at the Huskies. That'll be tough as well. At Rutgers, Maryland, at Wisconsin, and then they finish off with Northwestern. So in theory, I see 2 losses. So at worst, 3 losses.
So they only play one of the perceived top 4. That's Ohio State. They don't play Penn State. They don't play Oregon. Obviously.
Now I do, like I said. Now me, I'm big on the Huskies. They got to go out to Seattle to play.
Right.
We'll see what happens there. But yeah, and they got a bye. They got the Buckeyes bye week, and then they're at Seattle. But other than that, if they can get through that 2 games in 3 weeks, I don't see them losing a game.
And let me ask you this, and I'm thinking your answer is going to be yes. Of course, I don't know what that week looks like for the Big Ten because the big noon kickoff. But I'm sure Illinois would prefer that Ohio State game to be an NBC night game, right?
Is it home?
Yeah, it's
at home.
It's at home.
Yes.
I just don't know what the rest of the Big Ten looks like that week for the noon because that would be horrible if they're a noon kickoff.
Yeah, that's a good question, David. Let's see who Michigan. Let's be real. Let's just see who Michigan's playing, because God knows they want to follow Michigan wherever they want to go. Michigan will be playing. Hold on, let me see.
October 11th.
October 11th. Michigan is playing. Oh, well, it's at USC, which means it'll be a 9:00 game.
So then that's the night game on NBC. Michigan. So
no, they may play this at you know what?
10 o'clock maybe.
Wake the hell up. 9 a.m. out in California. Big noon kickoff. Why? Michigan. Gus. Ha ha.
Let's finish it off with this team here. And as I'm getting ready to say this team, I can hear Kenny's voice in my head laughing because of their quarterback. It is the Miami Hurricanes. They were 10-3 last year, but their quarterback is Carson Beck. So can they sustain success with Beck?
You know what? I'm going to say yes. I think that they can, because success in the ACC is different than success is in the SEC. Cam Ward was able to go out there and win some games. He has experience. Like I said, I've been preaching all about experience. He has it. I'm going to say yes, he can.
He's played some big games, but we'll know about them right from the first game, which is against the Fighting Irish. And they have to play Florida State on the road. Syracuse, that's at home. Watch out for Syracuse.
So, and by the way, Kenny, apparently we can't make fun of people from the state of Georgia anymore. A high school, just a brand new football facility, $52 million. What was it, Buford?
Buford High School in
Georgia. I don't know who's famous from Buford, but yeah.
Jimmy Powers went to Buford.
Maybe. You know what? Jimmy probably paid for half the stadium.
Yes.
15 luxury suites, 10,000 seat stadium. High school. David, what's up with Cass?
We got to rally him up. That is your...
How much for 3 extra yards?
That is your college football blitz.
The telephone number here, if you'd like to join us on the Valenti and Rico show with me, Stoney, in for the vacationing Mike Valenti. That telephone number is 248-539-9797. Now, I saw this story the other day, and I said, you know what? We need a little levity in our lives. We need a little honesty in our lives. But we need you to, when I get to that, you can keep the names out if you'd like. I don't care who they are. All right. But there was a Connecticut couple, who I will say their names because it's in a story, Trista Riley and Christopher Arnold. And they were traveling on JetBlue Airlines to Sarasota, Florida from JFK in New York. When they allegedly, and I'm just reading from the Smoking Gun, engaged in, quote, lewd or lewd behavior. Okay, we'll put it that way. According to a probable cause affidavit. That lewd behavior was, and I'll quote, the JetBlue flight attendant walked to Ms. Riley's seating area and witnessed her making up and down movements with her head while she was face down on Mr. Arnold's lap. Okay, so they basically did the Mile High Club. All right? Okay, I admit I've never done that. So I want to ask you at 248-539-9797 on this 30th day of July. Mm-hmm. Is it the 30th? Yes. No, it's the 29th.
29th, yeah.
I'm going to ask you this on this 29th day of July, 2025. Where's the most unique, strangest place you ever did it?
You approved of this, Pastor?
Yes, he did. By the way, I discovered, I was going to mention this later.
Don't give me a thumbs up.
David
use your words. Use your words. Oh, no. Use your words.
David does have three lives. There's David Hall, there's Pastor David, and there's bitter fan David.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. It's Dr. Grits.
Okay, so I'll answer my part of the question. When I worked in Washington, D.C., at the NBC affiliate in Washington, D.C., and one of my jobs, besides producing the sports for the broadcast, was I used to do the score phone. This was before the internet, so the gamblers out there, we provided our own sports
number?
Phone. It wasn't 800.
900 number.
No, it was just it was the station's own 362. I remember the number. It was 362-4444. It was Channel 4 in Washington, and it was sponsored by, it was like, thank you for calling the George Michael Sports Final Line, brought to you by Kuppenheimer Men's Clothing Stores, or whatever it was. Okay? I'm Michael Stone, and we'd give the updates of the scores every 15 minutes. And my boss said, well, on the weekends, just update it on your way home for the West Coast game so you don't have to just sit around and do nothing all night. So, you go to Georgetown, whatever, and come back. And so one night I came back, and with a female, I said, you want to, I have to do this. You want to come to the station? She goes, yeah. So I showed her what I was doing. And then later I gave her a little tour in the editing booth, for NBC News. That's where that's the most unique place I ever did it. To me, to some people, that may be nothing.
Okay. We're going to move on.
Come on, Kenny.
No,
I think we're moving on past.
We got to move.
He wasn't kidding.
No, yeah, he wasn't kidding. No, we're gonna move on past this.
Whatever happened to having?
Hold on, Kenny. What? David? That's one.
It's kind of like the Costas burial of the Guardians. He did it, and I endorsed it. This was, I did it, and David endorsed it.
Correct. Please don't call.
Yeah.
This is one where you don't have to call. I trust you.
All right.
I believe you.
Now, David, we talked about this yesterday, that the Tennessee Titans, they cut wide receiver Treylon Burks, right? And they acquired him from the Philadelphia Eagles for A.J. Brown.
Correct. So
the draft rights there.
Yeah, A.J. Brown. During the draft, A.J. Brown was traded to the Eagles, signed a 4-year, $100 million extension, and for that they got the Titans got the number 18th overall selection and took Treylon Burks.
Yeah.
So that was within minutes. They made the trade. 18th pick came up. They took another receiver.
Yeah.
And now Treylon Burks has now been cut.
Right.
Yep.
They got nothing for A.J. Brown.
Right. And here's the funny. Well, I mean, maybe he ends up in San Francisco, but yes, that I saw that and I was like, what? That was just strange. It was strange. It's just like the guy from the Raiders, the defensive lineman who got cut.
Christian Wilkins.
There has to be more to that story because he kissed one of his teammates on the forehead.
Yes.
Said he was playing around, and they were like, "No, you weren't. You're released." And yeah, I was like, okay, but if you're Detroit, do you go after him? Like, I don't know if it's more. If he just sits out and nobody touches him, then there's more to this story. Mm-hmm. But if it's one of those immediately, wait, you just released him and he's on another team. Okay, that's just the Raiders being Raiders. But if not, yeah, that one was very strange.
All right, so let's ask this question then. In your mind, do you want to do it locally or nationally? Obviously, that was a horrible trade. You're giving up a great wide receiver for a draft choice, and you selected Treylon Burks. That's a horrible, horrible trade. In your mind, what's the worst trade in sports?
The worst trade in sports.
And no, we're not going back to the Babe Ruth being traded from the Yankees to the Red Sox to the Yankees.
I mean, Tony, I'm old enough to still remember the Herschel Walker trade.
Okay.
Where they set up the Cowboys.
Yes, they did.
For this is back when Dallas was great, Kenny. This is back when the Cowboys really was America's team. The NFL ran through Dallas. They had all the stars. And it was all because of a dumb trade that the Minnesota Vikings, Dallas sent Herschel Walker to Minnesota, and Minnesota sent back a ton of draft picks to Dallas, and Dallas hit on each and every one, and it set that team up for a good 7 years.
It was crazy. And then the thing about it was Herschel Walker was still a good football player with them. I mean, he wasn't a bust with the Cowboys. It's just what they gave up was ridiculous. You know? And I'm trying to find it. I don't understand why it doesn't.
Well, I'll give you the worst trade while you're looking for that. The worst trade is when they traded Chauncey Billups and got AI. That's the worst trade I can remember. I mean,
really?
For me, AI gave us nothing in Detroit.
I think that was just Joe. Joe had been trying to trade for AI for the longest, and he couldn't get it to happen. And each and every time he thought it was going to happen, it fell through. And finally, at the end, he was just out there, and I think he saw the end and said, "Well, Chauncey, Chauncey, maybe I can sell some tickets with AI." Except for he didn't play. So,
see, I understood that trade because it was basically for cap space. Number one, okay, because they had to have money to re-sign Rashid and all that stuff. That's why they made the trade, because Iverson was on the last year of a contract anyway, if I'm not mistaken. And if you remember the Eastern Conference Finals the year before, Chauncey looked a little slow, so to speak. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, Iverson was never Iverson again. That was a bad trade. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, look, there's been a lot of bad trades locally. I mean, Adam Oates being traded from the Red Wings to the St. Louis Blues for freaking nothing, basically. You know, Bernie Federko was in the Hall of Fame, but he didn't do much. You know,
there was. Oh, you know what? There was one, but I don't think it was as bad as people thought it was. I'll give that to you next.
All right, 97 won the ticket. 248-539-9797. All right, here are all the components of the Herschel Walker trade. All right, the Minnesota Vikings received Herschel Walker, who the year before had a season of 2,000 combined yards. They got a third-round pick that turned into Mike Jones, a fifth-round pick that turned into some guy named Reggie Thornton, a 10th-round pick that turned into Pat Newman, a third-round pick that turned into Jake Reed. I don't think it's, who was a wide receiver. The Cowboys received good player, linebacker Jesse Solomon, David Howard, Isaac Holt, Darren Nelson, who was traded to San Diego after he refused to report to Dallas, Alex Stewart, Minnesota's first pick in the 1990 draft. This pick was traded for another pick that went to Pittsburgh for Emmitt Smith. A second-round pick that they chose, Alexander Wright. Minnesota's sixth-round pick, James Williams. Minnesota's first-round pick in 91, conditional, Alvin Harper. Minnesota's second-round pick in 91, Dixon Edwards. Minnesota's second pick in 1992, Darren Woodson. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, and there's more. There's another one who ended up to be was traded to somebody else, Kevin Turner and Brad Hopkins. So yes, that was especially in bulk.
Yeah, I think one right now that I think a lot of people are going to be holding their breath for. It looked horrific at the time, but now maybe it won't be as bad as the Luka Doncic trade that just happened with the Lakers and the Mavs, where it looked like the Mavs sent over, just this great player and got back Anthony Davis, and he immediately got injured. But then Dallas somehow ended up with the number overall pick.
Right.
So we'll have to wait to see about that one. That's one where a little bit of head scratcher. But Stoney, I'm going to say this. In 248-539-9797, if you have some of the worst trades, New Orleans Saints traded all their draft picks for one person, for Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
Mike Ditka, smoking the cigar, traded every pick of the draft for Ricky Williams. Ricky was okay, and then he quit football for a couple of years ago and smoked weed.
Yeah.
So
you're right. That was, and it was weird because that
the
same
Sports Illustrated cover.
That same draft, our now sister station in Philadelphia sent a busload of people to New York for the draft because they wanted Ricky Williams, all the fans. And when they picked Donovan McNabb, they booed the hell out of that pick.
Yeah.
And that ended up being a pretty good pick.
I think you guys won that.
Yes. That ended up being a pretty good pick. 248-539-9797 is the telephone number. Let's go to Mike in Madison Heights. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how you guys doing? You guys took my Ricky Williams one, but
I'm sorry.
We can go just recent. The Russell Wilson trade to Denver.
Oh yeah, that was awful.
Yeah.
Or we can go Deshaun Watson.
I was going to ask you. Which one do you think is worse?
I would say the Russell Wilson one, because I think Deshaun Watson was kind of covered up by a lot of play calling from Bill O'Brien, so he looked good. But Denver gave half the farm and some equity in Walmart to get Russell Wilson, and look how that happened.
Yeah, but I guess I got to look at. I'm going to say Deshaun because Cleveland gave up all his picks, and that kind of helped jumpstart the Texans. They were able to make moves with all the extra picks that they had, and they were able to go out and get a quarterback and get Will Anderson at the same time.
Both equally bad.
Yeah, so I'll give you – this is what they got. The first-round picks they got became Will Anderson. It became Kamari Lassiter, who is an all-pro. It became Tank Dell. And it became Damian Pierce, the running back, who's been effective for them. Yeah. So that's a lot of pieces that actually works for the Texans.
Right. So, yeah, I would say only thing missing now is – if the Texans somehow end up becoming like that team and winning multiple Super Bowls, it would rank right up there with that Herschel Walker deal. Except for, they got nothing from Deshaun Watson.
That was one of the worst trades ever, Deshaun Watson. How about this trade that's, close to my heart? When the Philadelphia 76ers acquired Jeff Rulin and the other Cliff Robinson from the Washington Bullets for a number 1 draft choice, Terry Catledge, two number 1 draft choices. To get Cliff Robinson and Jeff Rulin, the Sixers gave up 2 number 1 draft choices, Terry Catledge, and some guy named Moses Malone. How do you make that trade? He was still an all-star.
I guess they figured he was on his last legs, and there is one.
And on the same day, they traded the rights, the number 1 draft pick, to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Roy Hinson, and the Cavaliers selected Brad Daugherty. Same day. Good franchise.
I think somebody was quitting that day. They just said, you know what?
The owner should have.
I hate everybody. Now, there is a big trade out there. I don't know because it's not saying what it is. So I'm going to hold off, Stone.
Okay.
I don't want to ruin somebody's. But I'm thinking, one, that if you're a Detroiter, you should be mentioning.
Let's go to Bill. You're on 97 on the ticket.
1987. When we got Doyle Alexander and we gave up Smoltz and somebody else?
With just Smoltz, I think.
Yeah, Bill, I was going to say that one, so I'm glad I didn't.
But you know what, Bill? I think I still would have done that trade. Here's why. I'll tell you exactly why. They made that trade to win the division and get into the playoffs. And what did Doyle Alexander... Hold on a second. What did Doyle Alexander do when he got to Detroit? He went 9-0 with a 1.53. Then he started off the next season. He was incredible. He made the All-Star game. Now, here's the thing with Smoltz.
Okay.
He was, great look. He's a Hall of Famer, okay? At the time, he wasn't even a top prospect. He was a middle-of-the-road guy. And here's the other question.
That was Leo Mazzoni right there.
There you go. That was on point. If John Smoltz was here under Billy Muffet, would he have still been as good as he was under Leo Mazzoni? I'm so glad you brought that up.
That's what I'm here for you, Stone.
Wait. I got another question.
Yeah.
1988. We finished 1 game behind Boston.
Got Fred Lynn at the trading deadline.
I still think, no, we should have kept it. We should have kept it. We got burned by Minnesota. They caught us.
Well, in 87 they beat us. They beat the Tigers in the playoffs. Yeah. Wait, it was 1987. Get that music?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Almost 40 years ago.
He brought it up.
Wow. Okay.
By the way, speaking of
I feel old.
Speaking of dates,
Graduated high school.
Do you know what happened on? Do you know what happened on this day 4 years ago?
I don't.
David's work paid off because the Detroit Pistons, because it was later that year, because of something. COVID, I know it might have been because of COVID, selected Cade Cunningham, July 29th.
Oh, it got moved back into the
2001.
calendar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2021.
David got all them church donations.
Yeah.
He never still made it. Still wonder what happened.
Jerry in Pontiac, what's going on? Jerry.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, Jerry.
Mike, it's JC from Traverse City, your buddy on the radio.
Oh, how are you?
I'm good. Headed to the Pixies tonight.
Oh, cool. Have fun.
Listen to you guys. Yeah. Anyways, that abominable trade to bring Bob McAdoo to Detroit for Chris Ford, ML Carr, and 2 first-round draft picks that were Kevin McHale and I think Larry Bird, maybe?
No, Larry Bird had nothing to do with that, but yeah.
No, I know, but McHale definitely.
Yeah, that was not a very good trade made by Mr. Vitale.
No. And I know you didn't want to go that deep, but the Bush are going to the Knicks for Howard Comey.
There we go. That music, yeah. When you go in the trades from the early the 60s, yeah, the music can be from that one. That was a horrible trade, though. There's no doubt about it, but yes. 248-539-97.
When Babe was traded from the...
I said I didn't want it to go back there. I mentioned the Babe.
See, I was waiting on Kenny to talk about the Gretzky trade.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the best players to ever play, the best player to ever play the game. Yeah, awful. Awful.
Yeah, but what does the center actually do?
Ethan in Fenton, what's going on?
So I got the Chicago Bears and Panthers trade when the Bears traded the number 1 overall pick that turned out to be Bryce Young. I think it could be one of the worst trades if Caleb Williams kind of pans out to what he's supposed to be. But, I mean, they got DJ Moore with that and Darnell Wright and some other picks as well with that. I think that just ended in this draft.
That was a horrible trade, no doubt. You know, thanks for the call. You know, it ended up being a horrible trade was when the Lions traded a first-round draft choice to New Orleans for Pat Swilling, and that pick was Willie Roaf.
Willie Roaf, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. But he plays on the offensive line, so he's not that important.
No, center.
Yes, that's true. All right, 248-539-9797.
Hey, guys, Specs at LTU. I'm mentioning this. You want to give them a look because Specs at LTU is going to be having classes starting in the fall. You want to get your name on the list if you're looking for that career in radio, TV, you're a graphic design artist. Let Specs at LTU get you started. Why? Because you're going to learn from people who actually work in the business like yours truly. You're going to learn from day one what it takes. So if you want that career in radio, television, or you're a graphic design artist, let Specs at LTU get you educated in the digital media arts program, broadcast media arts program, or the graphics media arts program. Like I said, you need to get in touch with Specs at LTU as soon as possible because classes are filling up for starting in the fall. 1-800-CALL-LTU. That's the number you need to dial. Get in touch with an admissions counselor and make that appointment to get yourself set up. That's 1-800-CALL-LTU. Do that today. Make an appointment with an admissions counselor and get your career started on the right path. Specs at LTU, located right here in Southfield on the campus of Lawrence Tech.
248-539-9797. Don't forget Tiger Baseball. Maybe you're on your way to the game. Against the Arizona Diamondbacks. No Suarez for Arizona. He might play tomorrow, though. No structural damage. So that's good for him. And it's good for Arizona, who intends to trade him. And it's good news for any team that wants him and gets him, which could be doubtful, the Detroit Tigers. But they are in the mix. All right, before we go to some ticket texts, let's go to Willie in Detroit. What's up, Willie?
Hey, guys, good to hear from you. My thing growing up as a kid, I was a young hockey player, and watching the Darkness with Harkness, Ned Harkness, who was the guy that the Wings got as a GM, used to be a college coach. Traded people like Gary Unger because his hair was too long.
Yes.
Traded all-stars like Frank Mahovlich, Paul Henderson, and such, and it was such a deflating thing to be a little kid watching the Wings, and they trade all their stars for middling pieces.
Yeah, that they did. His claim to fame, thanks for the call, was he was Ken Dryden's coach in college. All right, we have some ticket text, David.
We do have some ticket text here. Someone says, what about the guy we're trying to trade for right now? Suarez for Alfredo Simon. Traded away 300-plus home runs for one season of a 5+ ERA.
That's a great
you're right.
one. Great one. There's a lot. You can go a lot of the ones at the deadline, too. The J.D. Martinez trade where they got nothing for him. Verlander, they didn't get enough for, but at the time, because people were very high on Franklin Perez, the haul was actually lauded by national critics at the Verlander
Well,
trade.
you just stole the thunder of the next text because they say the Justin Verlander trade. Best player we got out of the trade was Jake Rogers.
Yeah.
And he's a below 200 hitter.
But the stash,
man. Daz Cameron never developed. It wasn't as good as his dad. And Franklin Perez, that was the most important person in the trade.
So does that mean the Tigers won
hurt.
the Miggy trade?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I have a trade, but I'm afraid David will play the music. So, I don't know. But the Colts trading Marshall Faulk to the Rams. Want to take a guess what what they traded him for? A 2nd and a 5th round pick. A future Hall of Famer. Part of the greatest show on turf.
Helped him win a Super Bowl.
Wow.
And all he cost you was a 2nd and a 5th round selection.
Wow.
And that's when running backs mattered.
Yes.
It did.
This next one's for Kenny. Has anyone brought up the Kyle Quincy trade? That draft pick turned out to be Andre Vasilevsky. That true, Kenny?
Yes,
that's true.
It is true.
Thank you for bringing that up. Mm-hmm. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, David.
Kyle Quincy. They only had him not just once. They got him twice.
Yeah, they brought him back.
They brought him back. He was so good.
Well, he was something.
One more for Kenny. Wings traded Wallman to the Sharks for nothing.
No, they paid to get rid of Wallman. It wasn't for nothing. It was, and they paid to do it.
Right. Exactly.
That's a problem.
Not just drag you out to the curb. We will bring it to your house.
This is where I'm obligated to bring up the Wyatt Johnston draft pick that you traded up to get Kosa that turned into Wyatt Johnston for Dallas.
Yep.
There you go.
You're allowed.
Yeah, I know it's a little early, but there are a lot of people that believe that Mr. Sebastian Kosa is a bust.
I mean, you're getting pulled from a playoff game. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the next major step in your development.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Wyatt Johnston's
good. Man just had a bad day, Kenny. Everybody has them.
Yeah. This one's for you, Rico. Somebody texted in this one. Trey Lance, the Dolphins trade. So that's the draft day trade where San Francisco traded up and gave up 3 first-round picks. They swapped the 2021, gave them a 22 and a 23 and a 3rd-round pick.
What did the Dolphins get, though? See, that's what I'm saying.
Let me go look.
Okay, because it's a bad trade, but kind of like with the Mavericks, if Cooper Flagg turns out to be something, it doesn't look as bad. Because of that trade, they also got Brock Purdy, and it worked out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt as much because, okay, well, you got your quarterback and you were able to pay him peanuts because he was the last pick of the draft.
You traded basically, 3 number 1s?
You did. Now, what did the Dolphins do with them?
So here's what they did with it. They acquired and you got Waddle, drafted him.
Okay, yeah.
They used one to get Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
And then Bradley Chubb.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so no, that was a bad deal. Yeah. They haven't won, but hey, you know what? Hey, Kenny, mistakes were made.
You can listen. You can listen to Dan Miller call Trey Lance his name because he's going to start Thursday night.
Mistakes were made, and here's the beauty.
Chargers.
Here's the beauty of great sports teams, Stoney. They realize when they make a mistake and they move on.
Yes.
They don't say, you know what? It's got to work. It's got to work. You know what? Big mistake. Yeah.
Right.
It's like when Seattle decided, you know what? Forget about Flynn. We're going to go ahead and play Russell Wilson because we're winning with him. But we're paying Flynn all this money. Don't care.
Right.
We want to get wins. I applaud organizations that can just make that pivot. Right. Real quick. A little bit of news that happens today. I saw this. Tony Paul had it out there from the Detroit News. NCAA hits Central Michigan with notice of allegations from the Connor Stallions investigation. To quote the story, according to the NCAA's Division I infractions dashboard, which CMU appeared on for the first time Monday, an NOA was issued to the school on June 27th. A signal for punishment could be looming. CMU has 90 days from the time of the NOI was released to respond to the allegations, whether in writing or through negotiated resolutions. What this tells me, the penalties are coming. I mean, first of all, I don't understand why it took 18 months, over 18 months to figure out what I saw in 18 seconds.
Right.
That's him.
Everybody knew it was him.
It's him. He made a documentary. Yeah, it may have been me. Everybody knew it was you, son. Right. It took you over 18 months to say.
So I'm trying to figure out who gets punished.
Central will get punished.
I know, but I'm saying the guy who probably gave him that access was McElwain, and he's gone.
McElwain, and it looks like the
Kostak.
The Jake Costner.
Right.
Costner, the QB quarterback, who I think is the person who passed the uniform through the gated fence at MSU, along with a field credential to get him in. The ironic thing is Central's going to find out what everybody in the world knows. They will get hit harder with penalties than the University of Michigan. That's just how it is. You're not a name brand. And if it was up to me, Mount Pleasant would be leveled, okay? Just bulldoze that whole thing. Nobody goes to your games anyway except for Costa. That's it. And he doesn't even stick around for the whole games.
They can't get more than what Michigan is going to get. Well, Michigan's already gotten what? Their coach has been Harbaugh got what? Three of the 6 games was for that. The other 3 was for the other.
Tony, I'm almost willing to bet Michigan will get hit. I mean, Central will get hit harder than Michigan. Central, what do you got to stand on? You're a nobody when it comes to the world of college football. Michigan's a blue blood. Yeah, they can sit and fight. They got a checkbook and lawyers. You got what? Dick Enberg and Jim Costa. And I'm laughing, but you got to put Costa in on some of the top celebrities that came from Central Michigan.
Dave Llewellyn.
That's how desperate they are.
Dave Llewellyn. Dan Marley.
Burn it down. That's where I'm at.
Dan Ramfield.
I don't care. Just bulldoze that whole thing and just leave the casino up in Mount Pleasant. 97-1. All right. How about we just take that to 610?
Good.
David Hull's on the 1 and 2s. Kick it, David.
Rico, I would have loved to take that to 610, but Stoney was so offbeat, clapping. I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
I know. That's why I said take it to 610.
I was trying my best to get through it.
Well,
wow,
what do you expect? You have the the cream to the Oreo here. I have no rhythm, but compared to you guys,
I mean,
that was amazing. All right, let's get right to it.
You got Justin Timberlake.
Let's start where we just left off, which was the NOA that was sent to Central Michigan for Stallions. And Rico, you want CMU raised. You want them gone.
Gone. You were complicit to this. And then McElwain did the whole, what? He was on the sideline. Like, either you're the dumbest coach ever or you're a horrible liar. Like, head coaches know everything, Stoney, about their team. They know when you broke up with your girlfriend. They know when you missed your class. You mean to tell me you didn't know that this guy was standing on your sideline? Like, well, who is he? I've never seen him before. So, yeah, you did this. You didn't have to. And, yeah, who would have thought that day that that cookies going on camera looking like he was eating sad pizza would be the second biggest thing to come out of that game? Because when it happened, when people first sent me that video, I'm like, okay, that's not real. That's not real. Oh, my God, that's real. Well, he's not wearing Wow, there's a little light that comes from his glasses. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And AI wasn't that big then. Now, if it was, you really wouldn't believe it, but yeah. To the ground. Leave the casino. Everything else can go.
Going from one strange story to the next strange story, because we kind of mentioned it. Christian Wilkins. What's going on there? The Raiders released him. They're trying to get their money back because of the foot rehab that he's refused to do, basically. Mm-hmm. Some other things going on there. Kissing a teammate on the something. I don't know.
No, I guess sounds like he kissed him on the forehead, and the teammate took exception to it. And HR got involved, and I guess they're like, this isn't the first time that he's gotten called down to the principal's office.
It's weird because when he was a free agent the first time, and before he signed with the Raiders, a lot of people want him to sign here. And everything you heard, because I remember even watching, they were in-season Hard Knocks, I believe, and he seemed like the greatest teammate, and he still might be. I'm not saying he's not because of this, I thought was a little incident, but... And hey, considering the Lions, needs at that position, I'd make the call to his agency and say, let's come down here and do a physical, because that's the big deal.
Stoney, I think we'll find out. If he's still out there and the season starts, it's more to the story. Mm-hmm. Because this is one of those, like, wait, you just released him because you didn't like him? Okay, well, fine. It's not where do we put him? We'll make room for him. We'll figure this out later. Get him on the 53-man squad.
We went over some things there for the NFL. We went over some of the biggest wild cards coming into the season. And we talked about Michael Penix Jr. being a wild card. We talked about some of the things also as being a wild card. Justin Fields. Have to bring that one up because Justin Fields being a wild card, that is your guy, Rico.
David, it is. I mean, this is his last opportunity. This is his last chance. Third team. I think this is the first time he's going to actually be given a fair chance. I thought maybe at Pittsburgh, but then it was like as soon as they signed him, they signed Russell Wilson the very next day. And now you're putting them in competition with each other instead of having somebody who can work with him, be patient with him. And what he's hoping for is kind of that Jared Goff resurrection, that Baker Mayfield resurrection, new place, and I'm going to get this thing done. And if he doesn't, I think he'll be a career backup or he'll be playing in Canada in the CFL.
On Rico Beard's favorite quarterback list, who's higher rated, Penix or Fields? Who just you like for whatever, personal or whatever? You like both of them.
I like Penix. Because I've watched him torch my teams back from the days of Indiana. He just makes plays, and he's just so effortless in the throws. But I like watching Fields when he was at Ohio State as well. I thought he would have been better if I was on the playground and I had to pick one guy, I'd probably take Penix as my first pick.
Okay.
We also talked about the worst trades in sports history because Treylon Burks was cut by the Tennessee Titans, and that was who they drafted with the draft pick that they got for A.J. Brown. And one of the worst trades that came up was Trey Lance. 49ers trading all those picks, and then we had to look it up. Well, it became Waddle, it became Tyreek Hill, and it became Bradley Chubb.
Now, I guess what doesn't hurt them is the Dolphins didn't go out and win anything.
They didn't do any. Yeah, they didn't win.
They got some great names, but haven't done anything with them.
So the Texans one, you would think that was. Well, the Deshaun Watson trade is what we're talking
about.
Right, the
Deshaun Watson
Will
trade.
Anderson, Kamari Lassiter, and
I think
others. That's
going to be bigger because they're younger, and those guys. It enabled them to get basically their quarterback and C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson in back-to-back picks by using some of those Cleveland picks.
How about this one we didn't mention? Kenny could probably verify this one. The Quebec Nordiques traded the rights to Eric Lindros, because he didn't want to play in Quebec, to Philadelphia. In exchange, the Flyers sent Quebec Steve Duchesne, Peter Forsberg, Ron Hextall, Kerry Huffman, Mike Ricci, Chris Simon, a 93 and a 94 first-round picks who ended up being Jocelyn Thibault and Kelly Baumgartner, and $15 million in cash.
Man, Philly made out like a bandit.
$15 million?
$15 million in cash.
Philly made out like a bandit in that deal.
Yeah. God. Lindros
he had concussion problems, right?
Afterwards, yeah. Look, Lindros was a really good player, obviously. I believe he's in the Hall of Fame. But, man, that trade changed Quebec into Colorado, and they became Colorado. So it affected the Wings in a weird way.
We also got to bad sports movies. Stoney, you started watching, what is it?
Happy Gilmore 2, and I might watch the conclusion because I watched half of it, and I'll watch the other half tonight after the Tigers game.
Now, that is amazing. I didn't get to that part of it because you only watched half of it? I
went to sleep. It was on Netflix.
See, I thought maybe Netflix just put out half.
No,
when you asked that, I'm like, half?
Approximately half.
Like maybe it was like an hour and a half and then another hour and a half. But I just think that some movies should just be a classic. I don't need to see the people 30 years later and their kids. I don't. But I like sequels. Don't get me wrong, because I remember somebody was like, "Well, you like the Marvel movies? They weren't sequels." Okay, first of all. I don't like the fact
that's a series. They're based on comics.
Right. I don't like the fact that there's a new Batman and Superman movie every other year. I don't like that. I don't. I sound like an old man. I don't like it.
You're not wrong, though.
Get off my comic book lawn.
Right.
And that is the end of the Big Finish. Tiger baseball coming up next, and we will see you mañana.